come link with your boy, come link. Come and blow some trees with your boy, let's link. We can watch a flick if your boy come link. We can joyride and explore link. Baby, come link with your boy, come link. Come and blow some trees with your boy, let's link. We can watch a flick if your boy come link. We can joyride and explore.
You're now tuned into Linked Up with Lux.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Lux, better known as Lux. And today's episode is called Let It Go. Now, I know I can't be the only one. When time goes by, we might reconnect with those from our past who we thought we would never speak to again. And then everything is smooth, They do say things heal with time, but it's not necessarily that, you forgot what this person has done. It's just when you have took your energy away from that negative, toxic situation you were involved with, and, you gave yourself enough time and space to separate. When they come back around, you're not really still tripping on the same, things that triggered you immediately back when things were fresh. And again, that's not saying you forgot. That's not saying you forgave. That's not saying, oh, hey, you played me, but, 3 years went by and we're cool. But typically in situations like that, whenever you do rekindle with someone from your past, things are kind of chill, if you will, not on no best buddy stuff, but, once you realize that, whatever was holding you back, you got over that, you moved on, you blew up a little bit, you found peace within yourself, and you no longer had that burden or that, distraction or that issue with that person that brought you down. It's kind of easy to kind of just reconnect on some like, oh, hey, how you been? Stuff. But again, it all depends on the situation, because some people, do you crazy, right? And it's like, clearly there's no giving back, there's no going back. But I guess my point here is just certain things you just have to let go, because it's like, obviously your emotions are valid in the moment. Your feelings are valid in the moment, and you might have cut a person off for a particular reason, or because they didn't align with your expectations in that moment, or they did something foul and you were like, yeah, I'm not settling for that. I'm not tolerating that. So you moved on. But you see what happened. You did what you did. You stood on business. You removed that person from the equation. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna, communicate with them again, on some regular, hey, what's up? How's it going? Good morning. Hey, what's up? Like, hey, like, nah, but that brief encounter, you can just kind of be like, oh, yeah, okay, what's up? Like, chill. You're not bothered. You already got over them. You're not really fazed by it anymore. But some people, they continue to spark that flame, from that person, 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. And I'm not here to tell you what you should just look over or what you should just accept, because again, some people really do you bad. Like, some people are really grimy. Some people's actions just are so bad where it's just like, yeah, there's no going back. Like, it's forever F you, But when you think back to it, it's like all this energy that you're putting into hating this person and having these strong emotions of, just annoyance with this person. It's just, what is that doing for you? Keep people where they are. Again, I'm not saying go digging through your past and, rekindle things with your exes or your friends or people that just cross that line, but you're gonna eventually maybe, talk to them again, whether it's briefly or not. And if you're constantly just bringing that negative energy, that same energy, if you see them and they're able to get you back to that low point, that angry point, it's like you shouldn't give them that satisfaction. You shouldn't allow someone to continue to, have that ability to stress you out later on, especially if you took the time to better yourself and took the time to reflect and took the time to be like, yeah, okay, I had to get away from this situation, and I'm happy about that. I don't have to worry about them anymore, but to still keep this and carry this anger years later, months later, it's just not good for you. You just got to be unbothered. Now, again, I'm going to emphasize, I know it might be a little confusing. I'm not saying, oh, hey, go pick up your phone and call your ex from 5 years ago and be like, hey, what's up? Everything's good? You're good? Even though they literally cheated on you or lied to you or deceived you or, broke something of yours and just didn't take accountability for whatever it may be. But it's just like some people do carry this energy, where they have this person literally living rent free in their head, able to piss them off at any moment. You gotta let it go. You gotta de-cleanse your mind, and whatever it is that you moved on from and you walked away from and you stood on that, still stand on that. But don't ever allow that person to be able to bring you down again, just based on reminiscing about something or thinking about a situation, or you see them on social media, so you're instantly triggered again. If you are bettering yourself and bettering your life and you learned from your past experiences and mistakes, if you will, it should literally just be a neutral feeling, and you're continuing to better yourself and move on with life. Because again, holding that weight of hatred and anger for people, it just gets us nowhere. It really gets us nowhere. It slows us down. It blocks our mind. It doesn't give us the ability to really oversee, the bigger picture, because we're constantly thinking about the negative, the negative, the negative. They did this, just erase them out your mind. Erase them out your mind. And, you can see that person and you don't have to be, smiling ear to ear. Now, I'm not saying that at all, but don't give them that satisfaction of knowing how you feel. Don't give them that satisfaction to know that they still can piss you off, and that lack of anger that, they receive from you, it's going to make them be like, oh, wow, they really don't care. Like, I really can't bother them the way that I used to. I can't get under their skin the way that I used to. They really must have moved on and they're doing better. But if you come back around, or they come back around, and you see them, you talk to them, and they say hi, and you're instantly right back on that same energy that you were prior, they're gonna get a little satisfaction, like, yeah, I still can get under their skin. They must still like me, and some people would do that literally just to be petty. So that's just why I'm saying you can't let people see that they upset you, especially when they have done you wrong. Because if they've done you wrong once, they're not stupid. If they've done you wrong twice, come on, they're not slow. Like, they know what they're doing. They knew what they were doing. They knew why you walked away. They knew why you separated from them. They know all of this. So my main point is just like, you have to be smart. You can't live on holding a grudge, right? You got to move on. You got to do better. You got to put them in your past, but you can't give them that satisfaction to know, like, yeah, I'm gonna piss this person off just because I know we had a rocky past, and some people never learn. Some people take accountability and they can reflect and be like, man, I'm really sorry I did you like that. I was young. I was immature. I just had a lot on my plate. I took you for granted. I didn't appreciate you. And then there's some people that never grow up regardless of their age, because that's just who they are. That's the type of people they hang around. They're immature. They're goofy. They're silly. They don't really appreciate you. They don't really, care about you, to truly care enough about respecting your wishes, your boundaries, and taking accountability. Because to them, it's a game. It's always been a game. Their involvement with you has always been a joke. They think everything is hee hee, ha ha. Whole time, it's just like, they're miserable. They don't have anything going for themselves. You took the time to glow yourself up. You took the time, to really get to know yourself and figure out what it is that you wanted and what made you happy and makes you happy still continuously. They just got cut off by you, and they're so dumb they didn't even realize, that they were the problem. They're so dumb that they don't even realize that they have a lot they need to learn, a lot of areas where they need to grow and develop in their own mind and brain and decisions, but they're just so oblivious to the obvious, and that's not your problem anymore. You left them in the past, but don't allow them to still have access to piss you off and upset you. Let it go. It's your boy Lux. I'm out.